For the first time since December 9th, the Toronto Raptors are back at 500. It took them 109 days and 6 chances, but they finally got there. Man, it's been that stressful of a season that we're just happy that this team is finally back to a 500 record. Raptors are coming off one of their better wins this season. They beat the Jimmy Butler-less Heat in a huge game for both teams, and Scottie Barnes, he turned all heads in this one. He had a masterful performance, 22 points on an outstanding 63% shooting, had a career-high 12 assists, 7 boards, 3 steals, and arguably the most impressive part, 0 turnovers. He had a couple of nice dunks too in this one. He had a Statue of Liberty dunk, and then he had a nasty putback dunk on Bam Adebayo and Martin. Siakam had 26, Anunoby had 22, and you would have been lucky if you got a game where at least 2 of these guys had good games, but Barnes, Siakam, and Anunoby all had 20 plus points in solid performances. When all 3 of those guys get it going, the Raptors are a completely different team. What's going on, everyone? It's Luca here, back with another video. On this one, I'm going to be talking about the Raptors building some momentum here and what's at stake for them in these final 6 games of the season. If you guys can do me a solid favor, hit a like on the video. It does help it a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors and NBA content. So in the midst of this very up and down season, it's exciting to see that no matter what happens down the stretch or even over the course of this offseason for the Raptors, Scottie Barnes will remain a Raptor. And we've seen his flashes of brilliance all over the court, and the Raptors should still prioritize his development down the stretch here. I want to continue to see the ball in Scottie Barnes' hands. Engaging Barnes more and letting him run the show is what he does best. So I know I've been very critical of the Raptors over the course of the season, but I have to acknowledge that this team has played much better of late. Minus the blunder against the Pacers, the Raptors have been able to protect home court. They still have the issue of giving up big leads like they almost did against the Wizards, but you can tell that this team is slowly starting to hit their stride. However, because the Raptors did put themselves in a big hole earlier in the season, there's still a lot of work to do. The Raptors' true final test is still in front of them. So here's what's next for the Toronto Raptors. They got 6 games left. This includes a 5-game road trip and then 1 final game at home versus the Milwaukee Bucks. For as good as the Raptors have been at home this season, they're only 12-24 on the road this season. So let's take a closer look at the play-in picture. As you can see, the Raptors are currently still 9th in the East, and that's because the Hawks did beat the Cavs on Tuesday night, which was a massive win for them, and they hold the tiebreaker on the Raptors. Okay, so first off, I think it's safe to say that the Raptors have unofficially clinched a play-in spot. They're 4 up on the Wizards, and they have the tiebreaker with 6 games left. Raptors are 1.5 games up on the Bulls and have the tiebreaker on them. They're tied with the Hawks, but the Hawks do have the tiebreaker over the Raptors. And then this is where it gets interesting. The Raptors, with their win over Miami, are now only 2 games back of the Heat for 7th, and the Raptors own the tiebreaker over the Heat. And the Raptors are now just 2.5 games back of the Nets from qualifying for a playoff spot and taking that 6th seed. And that means that the Raptors would not have to participate in the play-in altogether. The Nets do have the tiebreaker over the Raptors, though, thanks to KD and that version of the Nets. So every game from here on out is going to be ultra important for the Raptors, including the games that they aren't playing in. So there's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching down the stretch here. I mean, take these games tonight. The Heat take on the Knicks and the Nets take on the Rockets. You know the Raptors are going to be interested to see how those games play out. Now, before the Raptors think about moving up and hope for teams to lose and all that, they need to take care of business, and they got to take care of what's in front of them. They got a big game against the Sixers on Friday. They're going to have a couple days off here, and then they're going to be in Philadelphia for that one. Then they have the Hornets twice in a row in Charlotte. And before you say automatic wins, the Hornets have won 3 in a row, and suddenly it looks like they're playing the role of spoiler. Then the Raptors got the Celtics twice in a row in Boston, which is tough because the Celtics could still be competing for the 1 seed. And then the Raptors catch the Bucks for the final game of the season at Scotiabank Arena. Now, by this point, the Bucks could be locked into the 1 seed, so they would probably rest some players here if that's the case. And actually, if the Celtics continue to lose and are locked into the 2 seed by the time they play the Raptors for that 2-game series, then they could rest some guys too. So there are a lot of variables that could come into play here, but ultimately the Raptors could catch some breaks. Now, as I said on the Raptors Nation podcast with Sean, I ultimately see the Raptors leapfrogging the Hawks, because go take a look at the Hawks' final 7 games. It's brutal. I mean, that is going to be tough for Atlanta. So I do see the Raptors passing them, and I do see the Raptors finishing 8th. Now, I know they're still within striking distance of teams like the Heat and the Nets, but if you actually go look at the remaining schedules for both those teams, they're reasonable. And it would take a complete collapse from both of them for the Raptors to pass both of them, which could obviously still happen. I mean, the Heat definitely do not look like the same scary Heat team that they resembled in seasons past. And Brooklyn's kind of a weird team, right? They have these flashes of brilliance, but then they'll lose a game against the Magic. So you don't really know how that team is going to fare under pressure-packed moments. So it should be interesting to see how things play out. But just a quick reminder on how the play-in works. If the Raptors finish 9th or 10th, they would have to win 2 games to get into the playoffs. If they finish 7th or 8th, they have to win only 1 game to get into the playoffs. And then obviously if they get the 6th seed, they automatically get a playoff spot. The Raptors have actually had a lot of success against all the teams in the play-in. So if they do finish in a play-in spot, they should feel good about their chances. There's not a team in the play-in that scares me. I mean, all these teams have been very mediocre. I know the Bulls are kind of turning it on lately. The Hawks have just been an inconsistent team. The Miami Heat, like I said, they have not looked like the same Heat team in the past. Then you got the Raptors, and then you got the Brooklyn Nets, who could still potentially fall out, and their inexperience might get in their way. We'll see how these final 6 games play out for the Raptors, but it's safe to say this final stretch should make for a lot of drama. Where do you see the Raptors finishing in the East? Do you see them getting that 6th spot, which is still realistic, as the Raptors have been winning these games and some of the teams in front of them have been losing? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions on how you see these final 6 games playing out and where you see the Raptors finishing in the standings come playoff time. We'll see how the Raptors fare on the road. Like I said, that's a place that hasn't treated them well this season. But hey, with the way this team is picking up momentum, they could continue to win some games on the road, which will definitely help bolster where they finish in the standings. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Again, hit a like on the video. It does help it a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors and NBA content. As always, thank you so much for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. This is Luca signing off, and I will catch you all again in the next video.